Right now, everybody is in what I like to call the AI panic, right? Where they're just like, oh, we have to figure out how we're going to be an AI first agency and have AI services and use AI ourselves and leverage AI for this and AI for that.
And then cold call.
What are you guys doing? Is there some sort of golden formula?
On today's episode of the Built Happily podcast, we have Miles and Zach from Vonazon, an elite partner, digging deep on how they've retained their users and how marketing is their key to success. Not just marketing their company, but actually doing marketing services. Stay tuned for that and more. This is the Built Happily podcast, where we dive into building apps, companies, and relationships in the HubSpot ecosystem.
As HubSpot grows, so does the opportunity, and we put you in the room with the people making it all happen.
Well, guys, it's Zach, it's Miles. I wanted to have you guys on the Vonazon Crew. I was really intrigued by the vision. I was really intrigued by how you guys are showing yourself off online, but give the people a little intro, who you guys are, where you're coming from. Miles, I'm pointing at you first.
All right. I'm Miles England. I am the Director of Partnerships and Manager of the Onboarding Team at Vonazon. Have been for the last, 4+ years now. It's been a ride.
Managing partnerships in HubSpot land is always a ride. I'll tell you that. It's a very generous way to give it. Generous thing to call it.
No comment yet. Yeah. How about that? No comment right now.
Yeah, for sure on that one. I'm Zach Panzarella. I do a lot of our content work and our SEO work. I'm also kind of like the Swiss Army knife of Vonazon right now. I just help out where I'm needed. I've done some sales work here and there. I do our social media. So wherever they need me, that's what I'll do. So you never know what it's going to be. And it's a lot of fun that way.
It is, man. So the guys, we were talking, we were looking at a bunch of different stuff we're doing. Apps are working together. And I wanted to hear a little bit more about this path to elite. Because there's only a few elite partners out there, and that badge is starting to weigh pretty heavily in the ecosystem. Would love to understand how that path went for you guys and how long you've been at it.
Oh my God. How much time do you have? I remember that slot.
About an hour.
Got about 45 for this particular.
For one question in this whole podcast.
Yeah.
just to keep an answer somewhat short and without me getting just pent up with all of that wonderfulness that happened. It was a hard slog. It was, in fact, incredibly difficult. HubSpot doesn't make it easy, which is why there aren't so many of us. We're actually one of the smallest elite partners, so it was even harder. You have to manage a certain amount of clients. You've got to have a certain MRR and an ARR. It's absolutely insane what they ask for sometimes, especially from a smaller company's view. It meant our team worked. I remember those days. That was back when we were back in office. And those were the days where we were working like in office until 8, 9 p.m. Just still, again, we were a team of 30 at that time. And we've got 10, 15 people at 8 o'clock at night still in the office because we're managing clients. We were doing extra social. We all took on extra work. By no means was this like one person on this team. It was a collection of us that basically said, we want this goal for us. And the CEO encouraged us to really just bend over backwards to really get it done and just pretty much double our client load, which at the time was insane. But it also helped us to hire on more people because we were, of course, bringing in more. But it was that probably 6 months of pure insanity of just how much we were working and how many clients we took on, more than we probably ever did prior to that. But as far as what it takes, it's a buy-in. From not just because the CEO can say we want to do this all day, but we as a staff, we really came together and just absolutely worked to get it. And that's what it takes.
Just like work. Never heard hard work getting anybody.
I look back at that time and I just remember, what are we going to do for dinner? Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Really,
it's well past.
It's a little past that because especially that's one of the things when you're in office, you have that camaraderie a little bit more because you're all there. And again, Zach, you were in the office for a while as well. And it was, and that's what it was like for a while of just, we were all there late and just working.
Well, it sounds like it got to a point where you didn't have to be doing that. Yeah. Well, so how did you guys find the balance and strike that balance and find the sustainable way of doing it?
Well, just because of what we were bringing in that MRR. And again, we were my CEO said, look, I'm going to go into the negative here to make sure that you guys aren't going to have to continue to do this. And so we brought on more team. Actually, I think Zach was one of the people that got hired right after that when he came on, because we needed a Swiss Army knife. We needed people that can just fill spots in certain situations with certain clients. It's like they needed SEO. Great. We're gonna bring in somebody that can do it. We needed content for that. Great. We're gonna bring in somebody that can do it. And thankfully, the CEO also had the buy-in and understanding that we were going to work. We just needed a little bit of help. And so we kept bringing in people as that kind of exploded. And then, of course, the clients got dished out a little bit more. The work became a little bit more manageable and sustainable by hiring the right people as well. Again, that was almost 3 years ago, Zach.
Yeah, 3 years ago now.
It sounds like you hit the gas pedal super hard, right? And then you had this acceleration that carried momentum. But then what you did is you slowly slotted the people in as it was needed to keep the momentum going before it crashed. Yeah, and like exactly you could sustain it. What was like
a year that we were allowed to, we all doubled our workload. And then so we were able to hire on more people to help us disperse it, to help us manage.
Yeah. Here's a question. So you guys, you ramped up to elite, right? Is there any, and again, the reason I ask this question is we're trying to celebrate what people built and tell the story and get advice that you guys have out there and really inspire the next generation of people building anything on HubSpot, be it a partner agency or like an app or whatever it may be. What is there some sort of like golden formula or some kind of rule of thumb around managing clients you're bringing on, what you're spending, resources you're using, things like that you guys have refined over time? It doesn't have to be obviously like a numbered equation, but any sort of rule of thumb on like how you strike that balance and keep it sustainable to grow, essentially?
It's really two things. And one of those being the team is still the same. Zach was hired 3 years ago. Those people that we hired in that time have relatively stayed on board. We have the same strategist still. And what that allows is for us to retain those clients. Because again, it's not just get to the number and you're good. It's get to the number and stay at the number. So at that point, what we look at is, okay, one of my senior strategists, she's working with the same clients she was when we hit elite. Yeah, some are always going to drop off. New ones are going to come. It's life. Welcome to it. But it's the ability for our team to now continue to work with the same people, to continue to bring in that same MRR. And now when we see a multitude of clients, nobody's scared of it. We know the CEO is going to have our back if we need him to. We also know, because he's done it, we also know that we can handle a little bit more for a little bit of time, knowing that we're going to have backup. And that's the thing. There's regular check-ins on all of this. We constantly are on calls with HubSpot themselves. Basically, it's check-ins. I have a weekly call with HubSpot, basically to say, hey, and sometimes I'm on that call twice or 3 times a week just to check in on where we are as an elite partner. Because not only, again, you got to sustain it, but they're increasing it. So we've got to make sure that, okay, this is where we're at, this is what we need, and this is what we can do. Okay, these clients are all the same, but we need to make sure to bring this new into the fold and keep them for 3 years, keep them for 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it sounds, okay, so this is what I'm learning here is that there's some kind of like secret to retention that you guys have unlocked here.
Yes,
right. And not only for your customers, but it also sounds a big secret is that you're keeping your employees around and they want to stay around and they want to keep working. So Zach, I'm going to, in a second, I want to ask you this because I can see how constantly having turnover and a lot of attrition is just going to be bumps in the road and slow things down. You got to train new people. You got to find new people. HubSpot expertise is at a premium these days. Maybe I'm pretty sure it is. It's hard to find good HubSpot talent because there's so many partners having to scale up because HubSpot really, as you can see, they want to completely dump offboarding or onboarding off their balance sheet onto partners, right? So everyone's trying to suck up as much talent as possible. So it's harder to find that. It's more expensive to find that. But you guys have had pros that have stuck around for a while. Zach, what are they doing to keep you there and keep you motivated and keep you excited? Yes. That's what I want to know.
That's probably the thing that I think stuck out to me the first 3 years ago is this team is just incredibly talented. It first taught me the value of client retention with specific people in the team and how much clients seem to value the people on the team over the team itself or the name attached to it. And that retention, I think, has really allowed us to keep clients since I've been here. A lot of the clients that I'm working with now are still the same people that they were 3 years ago. That has really seemed to be our secret sauce. And it's really when you have a staff that talented, it pushes you so hard to be the best version of yourself. So you can't screw around, for lack of a better word, with this company, because someone else is constantly doing the best version of their work. And it's a good environment. It's not an environment that I think makes you feel uncomfortable in that way, but it just is, you're constantly being pushed because everyone around you is doing work that is what you're the best that you're capable of. So it really is what it is. I think it's being picky about how you build the team and then choosing the right people to move forward with and give them those responsibilities and put them in front of clients.
Yeah, it's a really interesting idea, right? That retention. We just talked with Sam Anderson, shout out to Origin 63, about retention and their focus on retention. But when you talk about your focus on retention internally, helping you guys speed up so that you don't hit this, oh man, we have to work on people problems. Because once you start to get that rule of 3s and 10s, you got 3 people, then 10, then 30. Then when you get to 100, it's going to change. Then 300, all your systems are going to break. What systems do you guys use, aside from the ones that keep the ship running, but what systems do you guys use internally as an elite partner to help run the ship?
You talking about apps?
Talking about the things that you're using every day outside of Slack.
Besides, we got Pia is our pretty much our project management tool, but we're HubSpot. At the end of the day,
ClickUp and HubSpot.
Yeah, we try to walk the walk and use HubSpot for as much as we can. So, because there's a few things that we should be using HubSpot for, because if we're the experts, we should be using it for everything, and it's capable of pretty much everything. It is a very robust platform. So I think for the most part, it's HubSpot and ClickUp for our work organization.
Yeah,
that's a big shout for people that are trying to over-tool their systems and over-tool their agency. Because they're like, oh, I need this, but I need that. This is going to help me on outbound. This is going to help me on this. I got to use this enrichment. HubSpot does do the damn. So you can pretty much use it.
It's my number one complaint when I get a new client that they say, it's like, we spread ourselves too thin. We're using this for this. We're using this for this. We're using this for this. So where's your data? I don't know. And that's one of the biggest problems that we actually
it's everywhere.
Because that's one of the things that HubSpot solves just in itself. But as Vonazon, one of our biggest challenges with our biggest pain points is we don't know where our data is, because this team uses, this team doesn't like this, but they use this. So they want to use it's such a problem, but that's why we don't do that.
I want to talk to you guys about something. So a big thing that I've seen, I started onboarding customers back in 2015. That was like where I first entered HubSpot's world, and it was still very much, it was right when the CRM came out, but it was like still very much like this is a marketing product with a CRM attached to it versus this is a CRM with a marketing product on it. And back then, partners were all inbound marketing agencies, and they were providing marketing services. And then I think the thing that's like, to me, sad that I've seen over the years is a lot of HubSpot partners shy away from doing that kind of work and really just focus on, we're a RevOps agency only, and we're just going to set up your CRM and give you the keys, and we're not doing marketing services at all. It doesn't look like you guys have done that. It looks like you guys are still very much offering marketing services. I'm looking here on your website, and you've got a plethora of marketing services, which I think is awesome. And I think a lot of HubSpot agencies have lost their way, like getting away from doing that, especially if they give any certitude about their customers being successful using HubSpot, because at the end of the day, no matter how much anyone wants to talk about how strategies have changed and this, that, and the other thing, like inbound marketing is still the fuel that you put into the Ferrari that is HubSpot, right? If you're not doing anything to gas the engine, you know what I mean? What's the point of you actually using it? And especially when you start to think about your guys' intention of pushing retention as hard as you can and keeping your customers around and keeping them successful, I'd have to think a really healthy marketing strategy using HubSpot is something that they're going to need in order to be able to do that. And you guys are clearly doing it, right? So talk to me about like why you guys have held on to these marketing services and still offering marketing services and haven't gone the way that so many partners have, which is ditch that and just focus on CRM setup.
Yeah, like RevOps is
everyone's
golden ticket.
So many
Yamini
companies do
even
that.
said it at Inbound last year. She's just do implementation. It's okay, Yamini, but we're not gonna leave it all behind. Well, no, she said that a lot of people are, and that's just accurate. A lot of people are becoming RevOps only, but our longest standing clients, the ones that have been with us for years, the ones Zach's still working with, are marketing clients. These people are looking to us to form their strategies because everyone right today isn't understanding that's still a thing. You still need strategy or just throwing content at a wall. And that's what we offer. We offer a way through that madness of, at this point, almost an over content universe to, first of all, see the people you need to see so that they see you. Again, people just think, oh, I'm just going to put an ad out and that's going to work just so easily. It's like, that's not how ads work. And that intimate knowledge is what we offer. Why, like SEO, people have forgotten that this is a thing. You can't just create content and throw it out there. And I'll let Zach speak to that because he's the SEO king. But you can't ditch that because retention is the most important thing in terms of what we look at our business as. And our retainers, our clients that stick with us, know that we can solve their biggest issue, and that's getting in front of the people that they need to see their content. Obviously, I'll let Zach speak to the SEO stuff.
Yeah, it blows my mind that so many companies focus on having a great onboarding experience or implementation experience, and then they're complete with the intention that it ends there at the end of that. So much of the time that we'll be doing an onboarding and I'm falling in love with the client during it, whether it be the people in the business or their business itself. And I just love writing content for it. And I'm telling Miles or one of my strategists,
I love to hear
this guy's in a retainer. I want to keep working for them. Yeah. So it's really one of those things. And I also, on the SEO perspective, I can't tell you how many times I've had a client and I go in their back end, I run an audit and I'm looking at all this great content that just needs such little optimization to be ranking, but it's not. And all I can think of is, oh my God, they spent so much time writing stuff that nobody is going to read because they can't, because they're not going to find it. Yeah. And so, it doesn't matter if you have HubSpot or not, if that's what the situation is. So it really blows my mind that a lot of companies don't, I don't want to say value, but really like treasure that part of the business. That's my favorite part. Like what Miles said, I love those long relationships that we get to have. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're all hyper focused on sales because they think that's the only thing that makes money. Can I forget that? No,
there's an ROI attached
latte drinking marketers are actually bringing those opportunities for the sales team. That's true. But so, dude, Zach, talk to me about this. So what does it look like from a practical perspective when you guys are actually like building these services? I see content development, I see inbound marketing. Is it like, are the services you're offering saying we will make the content for you, or is it a mix of we will teach you how to be better marketers using this inbound marketing approach so you guys could go out and do it? Or is it a mix? Is it something in between? What do those engagements typically look like?
Yeah, so the first thing that I want to mention too that our website doesn't showcase quite as well too is we also have an amazingly talented creative team. So we can really cover just about anything when it comes to digital marketing. But the main thing that we've shifted our focus on the content side lately is that we don't want to just give content to any of our clients or even ourselves. We deliver content strategies, full on strategies around content. Right. Because there's a piece of content is the tiniest little piece of a whole thing. And if you're just throwing out unrelated pieces of content, you might as well not be doing anything at all. So we've been really trying to flesh out full-on content strategies that start with the SEO research that it's built around, but then there's creative already involved in the first steps of the process, talking about what pieces of content do we want to make out of this? Do we want white papers, videos, just images, or maybe even we've done explainer stuff. We've done a lot of really cool stuff. I know Miles, we worked on for like a pain management company lately. We made a video for them. That was really fun.
We all did narration for it. Casino partner portal. We did a casino portal.
That as well. We built a casino partner. So it starts with the goals and it goes from there. And sometimes the content strategy weirdly won't even involve a block. It'll just be rebuilding pillar pages and just what are their goals and how we're going to best accomplish them within their budget.
And what's that mix, I guess, when people are coming to you? Do they want someone who's just going to create the content for them, or do they want to learn how to like enable themselves to do it better? What are you seeing people ask for? And then I guess, what are you encouraging people to do between those two options?
That's a good question. From my experience, and I'm sure Miles is different because he usually meets them at a different point than I do, but I've experienced mostly a mix. A lot of them want the content written for them entirely, and they barely even read it, which blows my mind because I'm like, this goes on your website. Don't you want to make sure I know what I'm talking about? But there's it looks good. I can tell it's great. It's like, okay. Others want to be very involved in it. I don't want to say to an extent that it can be harmful, but some like to be very involved. And they like to look at everything, and they have their own plan, and they just want another set of eyes on it, really. So it's really just about working with them to where you can fit in to help accomplish their goals and not get in the way of anything. And it's also very dependent, I'm sure Miles will agree with this, it's very dependent on how many people and what people within the company you're working with. A lot of cooks in the kitchen can create a mess.
So in some situations, oh, good. Sorry, Miles. Good.
No, everybody's got a different way of how they manage, whether it be a partner or employees. It's on how they look at us and what we are. Some people look at us as their employee almost, not as their partner. And that's okay. It's fine. It's really just about us making sure that we're working with them the way that they expect. We have our own boundaries, of course. But as Zach is saying, it's everybody. I do see it. I'm on the process a little bit earlier. I'm generally on those sales calls that are before they've purchased us, before they even purchased HubSpot. And at that point, it's also, how much can you do? It's always a question of, you maybe start with the onboarding. Great, we can do the onboarding. Well, can you guys do implementation and setup a little bit too? Yeah, we can do that. What about this integration that I've got over here with NetSuite? Can you do that too? Yeah, absolutely. We can do that too. It's this constant question of, you can help us with this? You can help us with this too?
Yeah.
And so really it comes down to, at that point, just making sure that they're getting what they want and then working with them in their parameters of how they want
and setting realistic expectations.
Yeah. So it sounds like you guys you're keeping your approach flexible enough where you can deal with the folks, because again, the way companies approach content is wildly different all the time, but it's always going to be some sort of mix of hands-off versus hands-on, and wanting to learn versus just wanting it to happen. So it sounds like you're keeping your services flexible enough in a way where it's like, hey, those folks that want us to create it, we can create it. But for those folks that actually want to get their hands dirty and learn, we can support it that way. And we're not like rigidly putting ourselves into one bucket of this is how we approach that, because content is nuanced.
I've had 15 clients get onto a call with me just to learn and then go, can you guys do this for me? This is a lot.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's just...
Actually, I don't want to do this. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Were you guys always operating this flexible? Like even when we were grinding till late at night in the office, less people, were we still taking this sort of flexible approach to see which way the company grew and see what worked? Or were you trying to do more regimented cookie cutter types of engagements? Like how did that evolve, or was it always like this?
It was always flexible because HubSpot really gave us that leeway. Again, HubSpot being what it is and what they were trying to do, even as you're saying, we actually joined as a partner in 2015. And so we've seen HubSpot grow, and we've just said, okay, well, HubSpot's ability is, it starts with marketing. Great, we can do that. That's what we are. Well, then they had the CRM come in. Well, we can do that too. So we brought in people that could learn and figured it out. And the onboarding came into a bit. They were offloading it. And as you can tell now, they're offloading it so much it's insane. But really, we've always been flexible to what a client needs. I've got marketing clients that are just strictly marketing that I've never touched their setup. And then I've got clients that I've done their entire setup and I don't touch their marketing. We are a flexible operation because I think we have to be. And I think in today's day and age, being that flexible allows any client to walk in the door and say, I need this. Can you help?
Yeah.
And the answer to us is always yes.
So how are you structuring your team to be able to handle flexible, open-ended needs of the customer? Is it like we have certain customers assigned to certain people, or are you guys doing pods, or is like everyone working together? Is it a group effort? Do you have this regimented way of like how you structure like who owns customers and which teams they work with? Or is it more so like you've got like a project manager that can pull resource from these different teams for different projects depending on what they need? Like, how do you guys structure your teams and how you assign work?
We're already a flexible operation. Our team, Zach, in the beginning of this call, told you he's a Swiss Army knife, and he's a Swiss Army knife because of this reason. And I think the most important thing that I've tried to lay out, even for my own team, is that we are always learning. Always.
Yeah.
Again, I started out as a content writer. I did not know anything about HubSpot when I first started out in my career. I learned HubSpot, and my CEO, my team allowed me to have that time to learn it. And now I'm the onboarding manager because they allowed me to have that space in an hour of a day. Instead of doing some of the content, I was learning HubSpot at the same time. I was doing this.
Sure.
I started out as a Swiss Army knife. I'm still one, and so everybody on our team, basically on all teams, from our implementation team to our strategy team to our PM team, they all have insight into almost every single customer, because if a customer comes onto my onboarding team and says, guys, I need a little help with this, I've got a strategist that might be able to help you with that. I've got a content SEO writer that might be able to help you with that. Again, even if they're just an onboarding client where they're paying the minimum to basically just learn this system, I can bring team members on that can help them in whatever they're trying to do. It's all flexible. And every single time, every single client has the ability to ask any question, and I can bring somebody that has the expertise, the knowledge to be able to guide them forward. And that also gets part of our retention numbers up, because guess what? They know perfectly well. I'm not sitting here trying to gouge them. I'm not going to be like, oh, that person cost extra to get him on that call. No, it costs nothing extra, because we want to make sure you're getting.
The 2 hours with the PPC guy blew out our whole budget for the rest of the month. It doesn't happen. Never a good fun.
So let's take a step back. Like, Vonazon, how did you guys, as individuals, fall into the HubSpot ecosystem? Because it's real comfy here. It's real cozy. I mean, I've never met you guys, which is interesting. And I'm thankful for our partner program, because we get to meet people that are doing and dive deep in the businesses. But how did you guys fall into the HubSpot ecosystem?
I'll start, Zach, you can give your story in just a second as well. But I got a little lucky during COVID. Actually, it was COVID, because I didn't really know what was going on. I was a bartender. I was a struggling writer. And basically COVID happened. I got furloughed from both my jobs that I had, and I had time on my hands. Again, the government, as we remember, was saying, don't do anything, stay at home. And I had a friend that worked at another agency, and he was like, oh, HubSpot's all the rage right now. So again, they had a free thing, so our free platform. So I got the free platform and started taking some of the courses. Got a job at this is now end of 2020, when restrictions were getting even placed again, and we didn't have anything to do. I wasn't going back to bartending at that point, because there was just really no point for me. I had closed that door, and got a job at the lowest possible spot in an agency, just writing small bits of content, and you can help with this and help with this. And the most important thing for me was just learning. And so I got in, and
a blog here, a blog there.
Yeah, a blog here, a blog there. But I was not hired to be I was not very good. I'll be very honest. I think they were like, can you do anything else? I was like, I can learn HubSpot. I'm good. Just that. And I saw it. I loved every bit of it. I picked it up relatively quickly, and I just started going. I just started building out stuff, and I got better at it. It was quickly put on the implementation team, and thankfully other people took content from me, and it's blossomed from there. It's been wonderful, though.
Zach, what's your origin story?
Yeah,
I started with Vonazon pretty close to COVID. It was shortly after it. And the reason why I was looking for work, really similar to Miles, I did events. I was hosting car shows, doing a lot of work close with Eventbrite. I know you're good friends with you guys. They suck.
We're gonna kill them.
Their fees are just the best. I would probably not need a job if it wasn't for their fees. But yeah, so obviously when COVID happened, car shows weren't happening anymore. So I was looking for some actual work, and I came over to Vonazon to pretty much do what I did over here, help do what I did for our clients, or what I did for my own company for our clients. So I was brought in here, I think, to originally be a Swiss Army knife and be able to do a lot of things. But I was brought in as a content person, and I was strictly content for probably about a year. So what was funny is I was writing a lot about HubSpot releases, new software they were doing. I remember Content Hub. I was writing about probably like 100 blogs about Content Hub. So by the time I was working in HubSpot and being asked to do it, I felt like I already knew what I was doing, because I already written about how to use it. So it was really weird. I was like, oh, so there's that thing I've written so much about but never seen. But yeah, and since then I've been on HubSpot for about a year and a half now. And Miles, I still have to call Miles every now and then and be like, help, I don't know what I'm doing on this workflow. But he literally knows that he can do it literally with his eyes closed. And what I love about HubSpot is whenever Miles explains something to me, it's either one, me being like, okay, cool, it is what I thought, I just want to make sure, or two, how did I not think of that? It's so intuitive. I just need to really strip it apart.
Yeah.
Well,
it's so intuitive is sometimes doing a lot of work there with HubSpot.
I will say, I do enjoy the teaching aspect of the onboarding. It is a lot of fun. And that was one of the reasons why I enjoyed that side of the business so much. And so basically my job was learning and teaching. I was like, okay, all I got to do is come up with a syllabus. Done.
Syllabus. That's why it's super interesting for people in this neck of the woods, in this era, that when people are looking and trying to find what's their next gig, what's their next path, their next journey, and if HubSpot comes your way, you're pretty much almost at a level set with a lot of people, because HubSpot's changing, HubSpot's new, HubSpot, everything is always being updated. There's new ways to do things instead of us having to go back and break stuff and redo it with the newest ways, which we've done with a couple of our apps. You can come in at the ground floor, and the ground floor is now the 11th floor. And then when you come in a year later, it's just early. It's early for people to make this leap in 3 years for you guys to be where you're at and have people waiting to, can I just work with you guys? Can I work with you guys? The opportunity is so big, and we keep seeing this over and over again. The more people we talk to, that there's so much out there for this ecosystem for people to jump in right now, not to delay, but to learn, because the community is small and caring. We all give hugs. There's so much learning opportunities for free. Like, you can get a free HubSpot, build free workflows, and build all this stuff. Like, and even if you had to jump to start or do $20, you get some stuff. Mm-hmm. And you can make a one-man band pretty easily, because there's always somebody there's someone to teach. There's another person that needs to, what is a CCA is a custom coded action. Gee willikers, what is that? How does this workflow work? What do I send emails? It's really interesting. You guys are like really cementing that idea of, hey, we're still learning. Hey, we don't know everything, but there's a lot of people that we know we're one book ahead of. It's like the saying, right? And they need more than this RevOps. Can you make this pipe? Can you make this one and this zero go over here? There's a lot more to that. And Max, I know you love that concept of the marketing piece that's completely absent from literally every conversation that we've ever had. There's an actual, I need humans to see me and see my message so that I can help them. It's my duty to do so.
What do you mean? What do you mean I got to put gas in the car? Yeah.
You guys laugh, but it's like no one here talked about marketing on all the guests we've had 2 seasons. No one said anything about sending an email. Really?
Well, unfortunately, sometimes that's the only marketing that people talk about is sending an email, and then they quickly realize it's not marketing.
Just send them our way, okay? Don't tell them to do that. Just send them our way.
How many emails can we buy?
Here. If this is meant to die, we'll stick around. We're good. The asteroid hasn't hit yet.
True. Yeah. No, the best part is like literally people doing inbound marketing to say inbound marketing is dead. That's like the funniest part. Like, peak irony is like when I see a blog post around 10 reasons why inbound marketing is dead, and then go download the ebook on why inbound marketing is dead. This is a god level troll right here. We're gonna run it through 17 clay tables and do some enrichment and then just email you. Yeah, it's okay. So it's just like the people that are like just trying to bring back like cold calling, just cold emailing the out of people is for some reason making the most cringe gasp for air right now. It's just insane. It's so crazy. There's an extinction burst. No, there's an extinction burst for the cold calling and cold emailing bros out there. Like it's nuts. It's nuts. They really are trying to stay relevant, and then they're saying inbound marketing is dead. And the blog articles to tell us about that.
Tons of people cold call, and it works because people have phones. That's why there's a human on the other end of the phone.
Yeah, it works.
And if they pick it up,
works in that you get 1,000 no's per day and ignore this out of people. Yeah. And you call that one yes a W. Yeah, it works.
You're one of those people that's answering cold calls. Do us all a favor and stop doing that.
We're not answering the phone. I don't know the phone, but I'm just telling you.
But Dax, what you just said is why it doesn't work. If you don't know the number, you're not answering the phone.
So why are we wasting our time? They might be older than me or something. I know that I come from that background.
Yeah, those people are psychos.
The land of the call centers. It's 300 dials a day. You want to get 3 demos out of that 300 dials. You're going to get X amount of answers in the backwards math.
Anyway, I know we're going down this like road of the death to cold calling. Here's what I want to know, especially since you guys are still a HubSpot partner that's helping people fight the good fight around content. Okay, we just had ecosystem kickoff. Right. And right now, everybody is in what I like to call the AI panic, right? Where they're just like, we have to figure out how we're going to be an AI first agency and have AI services and use AI ourselves and leverage AI for this and AI for that.
And then cold call.
How what are you guys doing to practically deal with the whole AI thing? Right? Are you guys doing some stuff with it to either help you internally, or are you thinking about services that you're going to sell to people to enable them with AI? Like, how are you guys actually calmly dealing with this?
Blog about AI and how to use it responsibly. So I guess I'll take this one. I think with AI, the main thing to remember is it's never a replacement for anything. It can definitely increase efficiency. And really, you can probably get what used to take me 6 hours can maybe take me 4 now with AI. But the over-reliance on AI is a real thing. And oh my gosh, like you said, Max, the thing that drives me insane are companies like eBay. When I'm like going through trying to find something on eBay, and where search used to be is an AI client now. And I'm like, why do I need this? Where in your business does this help me? Or does this fit
write
in?
a description with AI. I know the thing. Like, it's the people don't.
Oh, and those descriptions are so worthless. Like when I look at one of those items on eBay that has one of those stupid AI descriptions, I'm like, well, I'm not buying this because this guy has no idea what he has.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't fit into everyone's business. And it more often than not doesn't fit into what people want it to do. And you have to be creative on where you're going to use it and where it's going to fit in. I think you're just as silly if you don't use it as much as you are if you over rely on it. You need to be using it, or you're going to fall behind the people who are. But if you're the one that's over relying on it, you're going to expose yourself. Everyone's going to know, including Google, because your SEO is going to go down the toilet.
I've had clients that I know perfectly well that every email that this person sends me is coming from an AI bot. Like every email. I'm like, Jesus, dude, did you read what you sent me? I had to highlight something and send it back and said, you do know that you not only answered your question in what you sent me, but then you completely rejected that it was the right answer.
You have schizophrenia in your emails right now. Yeah, like
crazy.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's.
I will say it's the transcripts. Those right there.
Oh,
I will say
everything.
I love those. It's
those
it's
Excel formulas as well. Oh,
that
great.
was a big deal. The transcripts are big. You know, when you can get, because I'm on 10 calls a day. I'm triple booked on some. Again, maybe I don't need to be on it, but being able to send an AI bot into that call that I can't make, but just so I can then see what was talked about and make sure that I can recap it. That right there changes the efficiency, not just of myself, but of my team, knowing that they don't now have to get me onto a call later because I can recap that call without having to spend an hour listening to the entire thing. I've got bullet points on each thing that was talked about.
Yeah, they spent the first 15 minutes talking crap of Miles,
cool.
and then
exactly. They're like, "Wow, Miles couldn't make it. Of course he couldn't. What a dick."
Are you guys using Remix at all in Content Hub?
Yeah,
Dude, that been going.
YouTube video. It's awesome. We made a YouTube video around it. One of our content girls, because we're a little small content team of 2 right now, and she wrote a blog and she remixed it into a landing page and an email. It's all done on the YouTube video. I was blown away. I will say, I was going to add to what Miles was saying too. If you are using or any advice for anyone out there, if you are using AI and you're using ChatGPT, you need to be using the paid version, the 4.0 one. Because to me, the 3.0 or whatever the hell it's called, you might as well not be using AI. That's how you really expose yourself. 4.0 is how you can give it that information. You can give it a bunch of different, if I'm writing something for a client, I can give it all their catalogs and be like, help me write this product page with all this accurate information that isn't just AI jargon.
Yeah.
But yeah, with things like Content Remix, it definitely needs some refinement. It's not all the way there, but it's really exciting. The idea is unlike that, especially in certain directions, right? Like I can't see an email being fleshed out into a blog effectively. However, I can really see a blog being transitioned to an email very effectively.
Or even a video being transitioned into one of those things.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing that I love about it.
When I teach Content Hub, when I teach Remix, when we're talking about a team of 1 or 2 people on a marketing team, this is a small company, they got Content Hub. They love that. They're sitting there like, yeah, let me edit it. Great. But I don't have a content creator. I don't have the budget to hire a freelancer. So being able to have that all within HubSpot is a big deal for them because they can look at this and go, I don't have to freak out about images. I can create 10, see what I like. It's already in HubSpot, so I can save them. I can reuse them. And that's a big deal for me when I can teach somebody to be able to really fend for themselves when needed.
AI gets you, I always look at it as it gets me 40% of the way there.
Yeah.
When I was doing implementation, it was like 10% teaching people how to use HubSpot, and then 90% being a therapist of, listen, you need to come to the realization, okay, this is an innovation. You need to make content. You need to make content. I know that's like a really hard truth for you to come to, but God damn it, dude. God damn it. You can't just send a newsletter. Okay. Like you need to make content. And that was 90% of that job. It's just like getting people on board with the reality that you need to actually do work to do this. Right. And so
right now.
it was tough for me. It was because it was like, then, the AI stuff came around and all of a sudden we started seeing blog posts appear out of thin air. And the curmudgeon in me was like, these people are going to get away with not creating content. That's like, they're going to get away with just being able to, oh, here's the button to press it. And here's the blog. Oh, good. I got content, even though I don't know what it says. I'm just going to trust it because I'm too lazy not to make any. And like, originally that really started to piss me off. But then Content Hub came around and then Remix came around. And I thought that was actually one of the first times that HubSpot actually made a tool that assisted and made content creation easier, not because you could generate the stuff out of thin air, but because for the first time ever, HubSpot got it to a place where it's, listen, you know what? If you're not comfortable creating content in a certain format, now you can create content in the format that you're comfortable in, so it's less of a barrier, and then generate that other stuff from there. So for example, me, I'm not a writer. You ain't catching me writing a blog post, but you'll catch me making videos. But now all of a sudden, I can take that video, which is the format that I chose, that I know I can express myself through and create content. And all of a sudden, make my emails, make my social posts, make my blog posts, make all these other formats that other people like to consume, right? Without having to become really good at creating that content. Because originally back in the day, it's not that people didn't have good ideas for content. It's that they didn't want to sit down and write a blog post because that is hard for a lot of people and it takes a long time. They also didn't want to get in front of a video or a camera because like they're scared to do that too as well. Well, now it's like you can build and you can create in the format in which you're comfortable. So that's less of a barrier of you actually creating something. And then now you can take it and you have this lever to multiply that across all these other different formats, right? And so that's what I really liked about Remix is like it felt for the very first time you were enabling people to still create stuff originally in a way that's easy for them and has a low barrier of entry, but then still creates the content, but it's based on their own original stuff versus just blog easy button. So that's...
I was in the room when they went over that, when HubSpot told all the partners about Content Hub and Remix and all that AI that was going to come in, and every single marketing agency went, what are you allowing people to do? What are you
That's our whole gig.
Time out. What?
And people used to pay us to do this?
And they can do it now.
Yeah.
It was a thing, but actually with what it is, I think Zach hit on it, you hit on it. It gets you a bit of the way there. I think the people that helped the most, and I said this to Zach while you were passionate to put the plug off there for a second, it helps the small teams. Those teams that can't afford our services, which is a thing. Again, we're not cheap. We do a great job, but not everybody can, especially those really small marketing teams. And they're struggling to put out content and beat a company that's got 150 people that can produce this so much easier. And they're struggling. Well, now with something like a Content Hub, that 40% might mean that they can actually make that business a little bit easier on themselves, get that 40% there and be able to do some edits, be able to tweak a couple things.
Yeah.
It allows them to play the game. And I think it's a really cool thing. Again, it doesn't beat what we can do. And of course, any marketing agency is going to tell you the same thing. And it's true because again, you can't beat what Zach can do with the SEO and just all this stuff. It's seriously just helping these small companies be able to have a fighting chance. And I think that is a really valuable part.
It really promotes content versatility as well, or really versatility within the company. I know like starting to sound like a HubSpot commercial, but another thing I love about
this is kind of a HubSpot commercial, let's be real.
Yes, anyway, but brand voice I think does that as well. We've even used it to where sometimes someone will want to write something for Vonazon or for a client, and then they'll give it to me to copy edit, and I'm looking at them like, this is well written, but this is not the voice of this company. This is not what they sound like. This is not consistent with what they normally come out with. So having brand voice, if you set it up the right way, there is so nice because it really does open it up to if someone doesn't enjoy writing or They don't have that talent to write and adjust their tone to a different client. They don't have to. They can just write to what's comfortable with them, you pop it in the brand voice, and then it comes out in that client's or your own tone. And that one I've been pretty impressed by as well. So I think it's really it promotes versatility. And yeah, for small teams, anyone on that team, like Max, you could be technically a copywriter because you're making videos that then become blogs. So it's nice in that way. And it is pretty mind blowing. It's really just about any other like AI tool to me. It's not about what it does. It's about how you use it. And if you're using it the right way, that's where you get the advantages.
100%.
That's the game. So guys, this has been an awesome convo. We always like to end it with 3 little random questions. Now we got 2 people to answer. This is going to be fun. Miles, you're going to start. First question is, what's your favorite color?
Green.
What kind of green? Stop with this.
Celtics
colorblind.
Me too. I'm
green,
colorblind.
concept of green.
I can't see it very well. So when I do, I'm like, that's green. So I get excited when I can see it.
I'm that way about orange and red too. I can't see orange, red, and green. I get slow when I'm right.
It's so cool. I'm like, oh my God, I can actually see the color of the tree.
Yep. Or do you ask your friends, like, is that green? And they go, yeah, exactly. It's green. It's like,
oh, that's a cool thing. I can see that.
Damn, that was the worst question I could have ever asked, or the best. We both can't see colors. Thanks for
the best. Or the best.
Happened all the time.
Second question. Favorite, I'm going to say, what is your favorite animal?
Dogs. I'm obsessed with dogs. They are everything.
I'm allergic to all animals.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Mine's got to be a monkey. It's got to be, or a lynx.
Monkey, those exist.
I think that it's absolutely amazing with the intelligence of just monkeys, gorillas in general. Again, I love that. But more importantly, they're just so much fun. They just like having a good time all the time. Whether they're angry at you and flinging their feces, or they're just there
so much fun.
Branches, having a good time. I spent a lot of time in Costa Rica last year, and just these monkeys are just having a great day all the time. They're just eating, hanging out,
kicking, literally hanging out.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, literally.
And now I want to say, what is your favorite animated cartoon? TV series cartoon, not like a movie. We're just talking TV series cartoon.
Miles, you go first.
That's a hard question because I can go back to like my feels and back when I was a kid. Like I grew up with like Rugrats and Hey Arnold. So animated wise, I probably go to something like Rugrats because it just hits my feels. But with the immensity of what's come out recently, it's Arcane. It's an animated show that is absolutely mind blowing, and I love every freaking second of it.
What? All right, Zach.
Oh God, I'm gonna disappoint you guys. Well, I grew up on SpongeBob. It's the best. Beyond that, it's so good.
It's good.
I'm a huge Family Guy fan to this day. I'm not a big anime fan. I'm a big film fan, but I've never gotten into animated film very much. While all the ones I've watched, I've enjoyed, and same with TV shows, I just haven't found that right one that's really pulled me in.
Watch our
SpongeBob works, baby. Well,
Seasons 1 through 3 are masterpieces.
Past there,
it's just pure crap. There, SpongeBob has been awful for almost 20 years now.
Yeah, it's because of SpongeBob that I hold my pinky up when I will take a drink.
Yep, and that's season 1 through 3.
SpongeBob, pinky up. Yep. That is all because of
every funny SpongeBob inside joke comes from that run of episodes. Yeah, every single one.
Awesome. Nice. That's dope. Well, guys, I appreciate you jumping on. Vonazon.com, Elite Partner. We got Miles. We got Zach. I appreciate y'all for coming up.
Thank you guys for having us so much.
Pleasure. Thank you guys
very much.
Appreciate
y'all.
Peace.